She's a seasoned marketing professional who left behind a successful corporate career to work with small business owners and has a strong passion of using data and strategy as the foundation of marketing plans. I'm delighted to welcome back Lorraine Ball of Roundpeg on Small Talk. Lorraine Ball from Roundpeg, welcome back to Small Talk.
It is so nice to be back. I always love hanging out with you.
Now, the first conversation we had on part one, if you haven't caught that conversation with Lorraine Ball, please go and check that out. We were talking about user-generated content. And Lorraine is calling, and she is in her gorgeous suburb of Indianapolis, Indiana, called Carmel, Indiana. Mm-hmm. Got this one right this time, right, Lorraine?
You did.
This one's right. Okay. So we talked about user-generated content in the last conversation. Now this one, because Lorraine, you run a company called Roundpeg, very talented individuals doing all kinds of digital marketing services. And one of them that you do, and you do really well, are websites. And one of the things that we've been talking about offline, off camera, is this thing about website audits. And you've got some interesting insights and tips people need to think about and action after they watch this conversation with you around website audit. What are those tips and insights, Lorraine?
So there's really 5 pieces to a web audit. The first is looking at the design and the structure of the website. And I'm going to tell you that if your website is more than 2 years old, you really need to do a deep dive and look at it objectively. Is it mobile responsive? Does it really do what you, not only what you want it to do, but does the layout look consistent with your competitors? Do you look like you can run with the big boys? The second thing you want to look at is read your content. Really look at the words that you put on your page and decide, are you talking to the people you want to talk to, or is it very you-centered? We do this, as opposed to if you're looking for. Third thing is conversion. Do you give people an opportunity to give you their email address in exchange for something else? Without that, people are going to come and go. You're never going to know they were there. And the last 2 pieces are diving into your data, really looking at which pages are working, which ones aren't, and then SEO. Have you built your website so that search engines can find it?
Okay, so Lorraine, you've gone through 5 real quick, which is amazing. Folks, you're watching the show, not a problem. Go to rewind, go right to where Lorraine started talking about the 5 and jot them down and do this audit. So let's recap. 1, you talked about the 2-year. If it's more than 2 years, that's a little red flag to say, hey, you got to do an audit and may have to do a refresh. Number 2, Lorraine, you talked about the content, the tone. You talked about conversion, find opportunities to convert, to create some level of email community. You talked about data. So look at the data. What pages are working better than others and why is that happening and how do you take advantage of it? And the last one, Lorraine, remind me again?
SEO, search engine optimization.
Search engine optimization. That's all around for those who are still trying to figure out the SEO game. Now it's all about keywords and searchability and that type of world. So please, this is a great opportunity for you folks watching the show. Go back, go through those 5 that Lorraine just highlighted and go through that in your website audit process. Question for you, Lorraine, is when it comes to the websites, are you finding now they are really, they're really part of that business card mentality? It's just a known fact that you've got a website?
I really thought by now, I mean, we've been building WordPress websites for 9 years. I really thought by now everybody had one. I'm amazed at how many businesses either don't have one or even worse, have one they have not updated in 8 or 9 years. And think about your own behavior. When you want to buy something, you go to a company website where your customers are doing the same thing. And you need to have that website.
You need to have that website, folks. So if you're in that situation and you're watching this show and you're watching this conversation, you're thinking, uh-oh, I don't even have a website. There's the thing. You need to have one. That's the human behavior, Lorraine. That's what people are doing these days. Last time we asked this question, and I'm going to ask it again this time around, hoping for a different answer. If you had an opportunity to have a small talk conversation with anyone, living or past, who would that be?
So last time I went political. This time I'm going to go musical. I want to have coffee with Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. Why Bruce Springsteen?
Well, because when I was in college, and of course he's from Jersey, and actually I lived for a little while right near Asbury Park, right near where he was in Asbury Park. Right. So I have this connection to him. I've loved his career, and I enjoy his music, and I think he's done some interesting things. So maybe he'd even bring a guitar along.
That's amazing. Lorraine Ball, Roundpeg, her contact information is on the screen. If you want to continue this conversation, Lorraine, by all means, reach out to her. Contact information is there. Lorraine, always a pleasure. Thank you again for coming on Small Talk.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Thanks. Thank you to Lorraine Ball of Roundpeg for joining me on Small Talk. You can also listen to the show as part of our podcast series. Now it's your turn. Please comment, subscribe, and share. If you've got a topic you'd like to discuss on the show, please give me a call or send me an email. We'll talk with you next time.